Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Week 2 highlight stream for September Showdown. My name is Captain Fog, and I am joined, as always, by Hunter. Hunter, how's it going?
It's going good.
All right, and also this week we have our new casting team, Best Teammaker and LeConte. How you guys doing?
Hello there.
Hello, we're doing pretty good, I guess.
All right, well, let's jump into those standings. We've had 2 sessions for September Showdown at the moment. Gentlemen, what do you think about the current standings? Do you see any surprises here? Anything you weren't expecting, or things that you were expecting? Obviously, we've got Deadbones in the lead here with 10 points. But other than that...
New player LOL Steamroller is doing pretty well. 4-1 right now.
I think it's also keeping in mind that a lot of people haven't played the full week 2 yet, including me, so I think the standings are very preliminary right now.
That's true.
Yep, and I'm also seeing Lev, who's a new player who hasn't played in any games before, who's been giving the top players a run for their money, so I'm happy to see them in second place. I definitely want to follow them as the young upstart for this tournament.
I think the other player to look out for is Cross, also relatively very new as well to the scene. I believe this is like his first major tournament for this game, and he's been taking names, I have to say.
Yeah, he beat me 2-0, and I was not expecting it, so he's good. And I like seeing good players that are new, and then they can improve and get really good, and maybe even beat Deadbones.
All right, well, let's jump into our first match with nothing more to say about those. First game is going to be Classic Metal versus Deadbones, I believe. Is everybody ready to start?
All right.
Indeed.
All right, we're going to start this replay in 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to pass the casting off to our team of Best T and LeConte. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Captain Fog. Here we are, Classic Metal versus Deadbones. We're going to be looking at one of their games right now. And I just want to talk about their draft right now. Classic Metal going for the boar. What do you think about the boar right now currently against?
Honestly, I think
the
current strongest tier 3s would be Wolf, Boar, and maybe Fox in the right hands, because the Boar is a really good counter against tier 1 units, which are incredibly popular right now. And then obviously the Wolf is a big asset to have if your army has a lot of units and you can time the buff right. So I think the Boar is a solid choice to play in this patch.
I'm a little worried about the fact, though, that Deadbones didn't actually opt for the Boar for this match. He's actually going for the Fox. Which
I think the Fox can be strong enough to play in these kind of games, because if you can control it well enough, and Deadbones is certainly a player who can, then the Fox can get enough value to be worth it. But the timing of it is quite important, I think.
All right, and speaking of timings, both sides going for the 7 farm tier 1 Warren. So just some patient farming from both sides of the map. Nothing too exciting going on right now, but I am going to be interested to see how this map is going to be played. Deadbones' initial base is on a higher elevation for sure against Classic Metal. Classic Metal has to work from the low ground. And with Deadbones going with a Sniper Balloon and Fox and Ferrets, what can Classic Metal do to slowly make his way through?
The thing is, Deadbones' first expansion is incredibly strong because of the double high ground, and Classic Metal's strength of his map is his third expansion is a lot easier to protect and hold. He has a really natural way of progressing through his expansions. He gets the one to the left of his base and then the one below it, and it just has a clear, simple line to defend. Whereas Deadbones' third expansion is a lot trickier to hold and defend. So I think Classic Metal's game plan could very well be to hold out until the first 2 bases gets farmed out, more or less, and then win because he still has a third base if the game goes that long.
All right, and Deadbones will be taking that expansion, as you were saying earlier, building up some more farm, now up to 10 farms right now. In the meantime, both sides still building up their tier 1 army. And Classic Metal this time will be also taking his first expansion as well as putting down Sniper Balloon.
Since we well know, Classic Metal is known for his intense squirrel play even before this patch, and it's become even stronger now, so it makes sense that he would go for that. Going for a Sniper Balloon is a really good idea because it will give him vision of the high ground of Deadbones' expansion, from a very safe distance, and obviously the balloon is a really good point to retreat to if the fight doesn't go his way. And Deadbones is countering by putting down his own balloon, which can't get targeted by Classic Metal's balloon. So this might turn into a standoff game.
They're like one tile away from each other's range, the sniper balloons. It's kind of funny.
And if I know Deadbones, I think he counted those tiles.
Alright, well in any case, Deadbone's still working on his farm. He's going for a very farm-heavy kind of game right now. Do you think that's going to affect him going into the battles right now? He hasn't really decided if he's going to go for a tier 2 quite yet. Well, I mean, at the same time, Classic Metal is doing the same thing, so...
It's what Deadbones like to do. He likes to squeeze out as much economy as possible, because that will accelerate his game further down the line. And he's pretty confident in his decision-making when it comes to defense. And he has a really strong position right now, so it makes sense that he just goes for the heavy economic play.
Well, here we go. We're going to have our first engagement of the match here. Squirrel versus squirrel action. Classic Metal had to sell off some of his barbed wire, but he does get one down just in time.
Yeah, it's a really even trade. Both players taking the fight away from each other's balloons, as well they should, so it's just squirrels shooting squirrels, and it's pretty even in the end.
And Classic Metal trying to set up the barbed wire line, but Deadbones has a squirrel army on the high ground there, just in view, and Classic Metal trying to fight this off. He has the squirrels on the line in the border between the two areas, but it looks like, surprisingly, it looks like Classic Metal will push away Deadbones for the time being, but Deadbones coming right back in with fresh new squirrel army here and taking out the rest of Classic Metal's units there.
Once Deadbones' sniper balloon finished, there was no way Classic Metal could keep fighting, and Deadbones sweeps in and picks off a farm, which is a really good win for him.
Right, nice economic advantage for Deadbones right there, as he's now eyeing his third expansion. Classic Metal now he just put down 3 tier 2 Warrens, but all of ferrets right now. So he's gonna be trying poking it, but as soon as I say that, Classic Metal Deadbones going at it once again with their squirrels, but the ferret is online for Classic Metal at this time. Deadbones has to be very careful about his placement here.
Yeah, and Deadbones actually opted to have an artillery cannon in this unit selection. There's another battle though, so let me just hold that thought. They're just trading right now. There's no farms being threatened currently, but yes, Deadbones has an artillery cannon supported by a sniper balloon to watch over his expansion, which is going to actually make this position very hard to take.
The
It looks like
now
Deadbones,
online.
yes, he has a fox out. Let's see, like I said, if he can keep the fox alive long enough, it could get so much value. He actually starts by picking off the farm, which is amazing.
Every time Deadbones, Classic Metal is trying to go in with his ferrets, trying to get a lot of pot shots. He has 6 ferrets, allowing him to lay down a lot of line of fire, but Deadbones is only microing his fox for the time being. He's keeping his squirrels back behind the farm, and right now he's just using his fox to pick away at Classic Metal's units. Now he's going to go in for a little bit. He has his fox in the back line behind the squirrels right now. Classic Metal is still holding on to this position on the slight high ground advantage that he does have. His ferret's sitting well in the backside there, and Deadbones will have to pull out. His fox a little bit low on HP.
Yeah, I think
more of
Deadbones he needs to just keep picking off units with his fox. The front farms of Classic Metal's second base are really endangered right now because of the fox threats. But Deadbones, in turn, can't really get his front farms up because Classic Metal has so many ferrets out. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this prod and poke war ends up going.
You know,
Fox does get hit by a ferret shot there, but it's still quite healthy.
it will take a few shots for the fox, and right now Deadbones just going in and out with the fox, weaving in between the ferret shots, making sure his fox gets line of sight of the farms here, and maybe a few units as bonus right now. And this time Deadbones will have, he will get his own ferrets here to complement his sniper balloons and his artillery. And this is where I feel a little worried for Classic Metal's composition. Here we go, another battle once more. Deadbones going in with the squirrel army, backed by the fox and the ferrets here right now as he's trying to go in, trying to take out as many squirrel units as he can. The squirrel units on Deadbones, however, all taken out. The ferret is now being taken down as well. He has to back out at this point.
But behind that, Deadbones has managed to secure himself another sniper balloon, which is slightly further in front, so that advances his line of threat, so to speak. So his fox can be a little bit more aggressive.
And you know, the boar, it's not going to really help out here. He has no chance to take out the boar. I mean, does he have any plan to take out this fox? Like,
unless he gets lucky with ferret shots, or Deadbones makes a mistake, it's going to be incredibly hard to kill this fox right now. and it might just be a very slow and painful death.
Right now, here we go. Deadbones poking at this expansion once more. The Squirrel Army now taking the better of this engagement.
Fox is on
and they're
1
gonna go
HP.
in. The Fox, he's still not dead. Classic Metal, he's trying to aim
and the
this Fox
Fox
so hard.
fell down.
Finally gets taken down by Squirrel, I believe.
But this might be the game.
Damage is still done. The first expansion from Classic Metal is going to be taken out. The second one looking to be taken out as well. And that's going to be no more food for Classic Metal. He is on starvation mode and he will call the GG. Deadbones will claim victory.
That was some pretty intense Fox play by Deadbones. Like I said, if he could keep the Fox alive for long enough to keep trading, it is such a value unit, and I dare say, kept it alive for long enough.
Alright, there we go. Deadbones just excellent microwing with that Fox, poking in and out at Classic Metal, just making sure Classic Metal couldn't poke his face out. And with a complement of ferrets, balloons, and even getting the artillery up in time. It just became a really hard game for Classic Metal to fight against. I believe we will be going to our panel just for a few words of their thoughts about that game.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Definitely a highlight for me for that match was that Fox play. That's probably the best Fox micro that I've seen in a very long time. I mean, the number of ferret shots that were going down, along with sniper balloon shots and squirrel shots that Deadbones was managing to avoid and still end up picking out units and still building farms and still advancing his sniper balloon line was just incredible. Hunter,
what do you guys think about...
Play?
Oh, I was just going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about Classic Metal's decision to go 6 ferrets immediately? Right after his initial expansion.
My initial thoughts for that are that, given that he's the only structures that Classic Metal has seen on Deadbone's side are sniper balloons, is that it wasn't a great decision. I know that ferrets in this patch are very strong. A lot of people are using them just as general fighters. But the original role of the ferret is to take out structures, and from what I saw, there weren't that many structures to take out on the field.
I think the ferrets were a good idea because Deadbones was forced to take his third expansion on the low ground, and I think it was Classic Metal's idea to pressure that expansion really hard with a high amount of ferrets. But Deadbones played his Fox so aggressively that Classic Metal never had a chance to even take a shot at the third expansion.
All right, Hunter, any last thoughts to wrap up that game?
Yeah, I think what really allowed Deadbones to be so aggressive and greedy with that Fox was that artillery timing early on in the game. Setting up that artillery pretty much negated any chance of Classic Metal just doing a squirrel push, which would have been pretty strong against the sniper balloon and Fox setup that he had. It just negated that, and I don't know what Classic Metal could have done there. I think the only chance he would have had would maybe just use a boar to tank or something, and then put a load of squirrels behind it and hope that he can just burst the defenses down. It was really well played by Deadbones there.
All right, well, with that, we're going to jump into our Game 2, which is going to be Master Stealth versus Lev Game 3. Is everybody ready?
Let's do this.
All right, we're going to start this replay in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to our casting team of LeConte and Best Tea Maker. Take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here for another exciting round of games here. Master Stealth versus Lev. This is actually game number 3. Master Stealth having taken game off of Lev earlier on. And what do you think about Master Stealth? Is going for a very interesting draft, I have to say.
Master Stealth always goes for a very interesting draft. He is the master of cheese. He is the master of stealth. And as I said, he does exactly that. He's going to go for moles straight away, sells them, which puts him a little bit behind on farms, but it may cause Lev to overreact. I don't know.
Just playing some mind games there with Lev right now. Although, do you think that's really effective against Lev?
Not really, because Lev is an incredibly good player, and the game obviously allows you to sell units for full value, so unless you really mess up, there is no real reason for you to panic. You can just build something, see what your opponent does, and either sell or keep building. It's not a big deal.
I will say, though, very interesting mind placements for Master Stealth there, putting them really aggressively in front of Lev's main base.
It makes sense. He puts them on the choke points on the river, where Lev is very likely to walk over, and then putting them on the high grounds it gives him a little bit of vision, actually, and then it also, the high ground is a sort of likely place for Lev to position his army, so he may very well get some kills with those lines.
All right, now what do you think is going to be a very important timing for Lev though in order to counteract against what Master Stealth is trying to do here?
Looking at Lev's unit choice and the way the game is played right now, I think it would be quite likely that Lev amasses a high amount of squirrels, adds in a few pigeons, and then eventually gets out a wolf and then pushes with that and wins the game, especially since Master Stealth doesn't actually have any tier 3. So we'll see if his defenses will be able to hold up against something like a wolf and squirrel push.
I will say this map does seem to favor Master Stealth in terms of the turtle style gameplay that we usually see from him. There's only really one entrance to his base and first expansion possibility.
Well, that's true. It also there is also no real option for a third base for him. So if he does lock himself up in a 2-base position, then Lev could potentially draw out the game when the game goes later, and then just win because he has more. Because that's Master Stealth.
Speaking of
Put himself
expansion,
in a corner.
Lev went for a very aggressive forward expansion here. Master Stealth sees immediately, gets his squirrel army to try to take it down very slowly, but at the same time, Lev has put up another expansion, a little closer to his own base.
Yeah, this isn't going to do a whole lot. Lev is going to lose 60 food here, but that's not a huge deal. Landmines are going to take out
One squirrel.
Well, the other landmine also hit, so I'm assuming he killed 2 squirrels with his 2 landmines.
Unfortunately, only took out 1 squirrel.
He had an other landmine close to his, close to Lev's main base, though.
You're right,
So,
but two mines basically hit the squirrel pack, but it only hit the initial squirrel in the front.
That's very unfortunate.
Yep. In any case, it looks like Lev is trying to amass his army right outside of this river here, and he's going to plop down his sniper balloon right there.
Yeah, Sniper Balloon will give him a lot of map control, especially in this position where it's protected by the river.
Now, what does Master Stealth have to do? Because he doesn't have too many late game options other than going for a huge number of units. And anyways, as soon as I say that, here comes our first engagement. Lev just poking his face in a little bit just to see what he can do with his units. His Sniper Balloon is up, going to prevent Master Stealth from pushing on forward, but I'm not even sure if he knows if the balloon is there.
Master Stealth is making the right play. He's expanding towards that third base. He needs to secure that position if he wants a chance later in the game. Lev has opted for chameleons to add on to his army, so we'll see how that ends up playing out. And Master is opting for ferrets, which unfortunately aren't going to be too effective because Lev's defensive structure in this case is only Sniper Balloon.
No, I was saying earlier, like, Master Stealth's deck doesn't really seem to be built for going for the long game other than massing a lot of units. What's going to be the key for him to possibly take this game away from Lev?
It's hard to say. He has a fairly good position on the map. He has high ground advantage, and that may be the key to winning this game, is having a lot of squirrels and ferrets up on the high ground. And just, if you look at the map, the way Master Stealth has claimed his territory now, it's pretty tricky for Lev to get the base in the middle with on the low ground, and then the other base that Lev could get is all the way in the bottom of the map, which is also on the low ground. If Master has enough ferrets, then it's almost impossible for Lev to take those bases.
Well, it looks like Lev has found Master Stealth's third expansion here up on the top. He is going to be protecting that with a mine and machine gun nest. So he does.
And I like that Master goes for this base because it denies it from Lev. He can't just easily snap it up. And again, this leaves Lev with no real expansion options that are on high ground or easily defensible. It does split up Master's territory, but yes, this is
Master
Master
Stealth
of Cheese.
What are you doing? He has his mole army ready. 3 moles at the ready with his command. He's going to try to sneak behind here.
There's a few squirrels that haven't been rallied yet. Oh, but Lev spots it right away.
The pig sees it.
Right away. He might get a farm here, depending. No, he's going to go for a Warren, which I don't personally like this play, but he might just get this Warren still, because the moles do have bonus damage against structures right now. Oh, he almost gets the Warren.
Just a few more shots, but now Master Stealth's going to use this as an advantage to try to take out the Sniper Balloon right now. There he goes, approaching the river with his army. Lev's units are there a little bit too late, but he's going to be taking this engagement right now against Master Stealth's units right now. Master Stealth's going to be pulling out slightly, losing almost the entirety of his squirrel army, in fact.
Yeah, Lev had way more units in that fight, and if you look at the food count, Master has a lot of unspent food, so it's quite expected that his army count is lower than Lev's right now.
He does salvage his ferrets from that fight though, so he does still have his tier 2 powerhouses here at the ready, but Lev is thinking about going for expansion here. Up on top, he has his invisible chameleons here. The mines go off, but the chameleons just shrug off the damage there, and now he's going to be going for that north expansion.
It's a really nice play by Lev. 2 chameleons taking out those defenses means that Lev can clean up that base. Master didn't have any farms on it, so it's not a huge investment for him.
In the meantime, Master is going to use Lev's absence to try to take down some of his units here. Lev does have another sniper boom at the ready, however, and it looks like Master Stealth is going to be forced to retreat.
There's some strange configuration of grist mills happening right now, where Lev has one all the way on the left side, and then Master's sort of in the middle of it for its Lev's bases again. So we'll see how this plays out.
But this middle expansion here up on top may be taken very soon. Lev has his wolf online right now, and at the ready to command this horde.
Yeah, ferret, wolf, and squirrel is a really strong combination. So it's going to be really tricky for Master Stealth to fight into this. It looks like he was considering taking the expansion at the bottom of the map, but he decides against it for now.
Bit of a standoff here. Both sides are going to be using their ferrets to try to pick off at each other. The wolf does take some hits, but he does have the pigeons there for sustain. So it won't be too much of an issue for Lev. Ooh, that shot almost took him out. That still does have pigeons
value.
in.
Pigeon value right there.
And here we go. Lev wants to take out those.
Buff.
Oh no! The wolf
He just
buff
takes out,
activated.
yeah, just takes out 2 mines with that. Doesn't really lose anything, so
Pops a little bit too early
Playing it
for his
safe.
own good.
Master does spot that Lev has constructed that base now, and he's building a turret right there. It's going to be interesting to see how this affects the game. Master is going to be taking out Lev's expansion from the top left, while Lev is moving his army up into the middle of the map, and the wolf buff goes on.
Alright, here comes the wolf buff right now. The ferrets are taking a huge beating right now. One is already gone from Master Stealth. He does save the other one, but the chameleons are now coming in. Master Stealth does manage to pick off one chameleon. The damage is done for both sides. One expansion loss for each side.
Trading empty grist mills right now. Oh, but here comes another fight.
Don't leave your army like that! Lev is now going on without a commander from Master Stealth's side, and he's just wrecking this army right now.
Just plows straight through Master Stealth's forces and is looking to do some damage to the Warrens. There are also a few defensive structures, so Lev is hesitating.
And it's a very hard point for him to poke through, but he does have a chance to go through this large army. There we go.
Wolf does get taken out.
The wolf is now taken out from the north side of the map here, but he does still have a giant squirrel army trying to poke at this bottom expansion. Master Stealth will be losing that one. He still has plenty more on his side. Right now, Lev seems to be hemmed in a little bit. He has to get out of this point right now. The ferrets are doing a lot of damage to some of Lev's units.
That trade was worth it for Lev though. He lost his wolf, but he took out Master's bird expansion, which was his... I suppose Master does have... No, he doesn't actually have any farms on his top left mill, so Master is down to very few farms right now.
Comparatively, Lev only has 4 farms on his side as well. He can't get his wolf up fast enough.
That's true. This is going to be turned into a...
Master Stealth, he sees his upper expansion, decides to go for it. Lev is nowhere near the area.
Yeah, Lev can't defend that. But at the same time, Lev moves his army down south, where Master South has an undefended base, so it looks like, again, they will trade undefended bases. Turning this into a very low econ situation.
I just feel slightly worried for Lev right now. He has to support this huge army, but he has so little farm right now. Now Master Stealth, he's going for the high ground once more above Lev's first base.
This may be a mistake. He might trap his army in here, because we'll see the wolf is out again for Lev. It's coming to the fight right now.
Lev is just pouring his way through into the squirrels right now, and they're all taken out, almost all taken out from Master Stealth's side. He has to retreat right now.
He backed his army into a corner, trying to go for Lev's initial base, which unfortunately doesn't have any farms on it anymore, and he ends up losing his entire army for it.
Was the army just too big for him to go unnoticed, really?
I think it was just... he was never really ahead in army value, and maybe he didn't realize that. And fighting really close to Lev's warrants means his reinforcements are coming in a lot faster than Master Stealth. So Lev does clean up the base in the south, and we'll see how the rest of the game plays out.
We may be on our final legs of this match here right now. Lev has found a Master Stealth's unit. He's trying to bring the remaining of his units up on the high ground near that expansion, but he tries to go for the river instead, and now Lev is going to take this advantage of the river to try to get all to shoot down the units.
Master Staff game is never over until his last base is dead. Let me tell you that much. He may lose, but the game isn't over until his last base has died. Both players have to be really careful about starvation, then.
Yes, so every single one of his warns, except for one squirrel warn. Meanwhile, Lev will be taking out the last of Master Stealth's farm. He is in starvation mode right now. He has to find some way to get some food. But he may be going for a Hail Mary instead. It looks like he's going to be planting 3 moles down here on the bottom. But is he going to be able to actually get anything done with it? Lev seems to be hunting around for Master Stealth, trying to figure out where he is and where his final bases are. I don't think he doesn't know that the warns are all sold off from Master Stealth. Oh no!
He does start
The
shooting at
ferrets
the
see the
moles.
moles.
Oh, he's gonna bring the moles through the water, and maybe this some sort of slow base race. But Master Stealth needs a miracle to win this game right now.
I don't think there's time. The drums are beating for Master Stealth's demise right now, and there you go. The moles are trying to go into hit damage on the mills, but nothing can be done. They're taken out immediately. Master Stealth trying to find some last hope.
He needs to build a farm, which he will do after selling his squirrels. Lev has basically won the game.
He's just
Unless
trying
he does
so
nothing for
hard,
the next 20 minutes.
trying to clean onto the last of what he can have, but it looks
He's
like he does
completely out of
survive.
food.
He survives starvation, but what can he do with this?
It's gonna be just a few seconds until... Yeah, there we go. Lev spots the base. He's gonna try and clean it up now. Which is going to restart the starvation timer.
Never say die, says Master Stealth, as he has nothing to do. Unfortunately, now he has to call the GG. Lev will take a very long war of attrition here. Guys on the panel, what did you think of that match?
What a back and forth. I can't believe the chat is also commenting that this probably sets some sort of record for the number of bases killed in one game. Although, again, neither player really invested a whole lot into all of those bases, so it didn't swing in one direction or another in particular. Hunter, your thoughts on that match?
That was a really well played Wolf from Lev there. That really he was already in a fairly good position from just previous fights in the game, but once that came out, he was able to completely dominate Master Stealth's army. Even with, I think, his first Wolf fight, they were on even army value near enough, but he managed to just come way ahead with that Wolf. That was really well played there.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the use of chameleons by Lev there? I know in the past few patches, chameleons haven't been used as much, but we saw some really nice backdoor plays by
I
Lev.
want to say that this is some of the better chameleon play I've seen, where the chameleons actually do something with their stealth. He took out a base with it, he took out a machine gun nest with it. It's good to know that 2 chameleons kill a machine gun nest without dying. And yeah, they actually did some really good work this game.
It was machine gun nest and the mine blowing up in front of their faces. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of chameleon uses from a lot of other players. Cross is another one, but he uses them mostly for their tankiness and giant brawls. Meanwhile, Lev uses them more for these guerrilla tactics to take out these expansions behind his opponent's back. I do want to ask though, what do you guys think? Do you think that with Master Stealth's draft compared to Lev's, was there a way for Master Stealth to clinch out a win with that?
Maybe if he had secured a better place on the map, but he was too slow to expand his economy, in my opinion, and he couldn't play greedy enough, I don't think.
Master Stealth just really hates going tier 3. He doesn't really like any of the tier 3s. He needed to just get some sort of aggressive advantage in the early game to stop Lev from being able to really do much. Because as soon as Lev gets his tier 3, then he's in a really bad position unless he can just completely dominate it.
All right, well, with that, let's jump into our third replay we have for you guys this week. It's going to be 2Flower versus Lull Steamroller. It was their first game of their match set. Is everybody ready to start?
All right.
All right, we're going to start this replay in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to hand the casting back over to our team of Best Team Maker and LeConte. Take it away.
All right, welcome back, guys. 2Flower versus Lull Steamroller here. And as usual, let's talk about their draft right now. Lull Steamroller going for pigeons, squirrels, toads. 2Flower with lizards, pigeons.
Go for a very similar draft right here. The only real difference is Lull Steamroller has toads, whereas 2Flower has barbed wire, and they opt for lizards on Two Flower sides and squirrels on Lol Steamroller sides. Other than that, their decks are fairly identical. What this means is that Two Flower will have a slight advantage in the early game when it's just squirrels versus lizards. But what I want to talk about in this map, on this match specifically, is the map where Lol Steamroller's map is not that great. He's on the low ground, surrounded by hills. His expansions are fairly far away, whereas Two Flower has easy expansion access to the sides of his base, so he has a really easy to defend position.
Is this where he just has to like plop down sniper balloons all over the map in order to protect his area, and to?
That's one thing he can do, or he can try and secure the high ground close to his commander right now and hope to secure the game from there. Because if he can control that high ground, then he has access to at least another base, potentially two, depending on which direction Two Flower ends up going.
All right, now one of the main differences between the draft we're talking about is the lizards and squirrels. How does that match up really fair between the two units right now?
Well, the lizards will win generally in lower numbers, but the problem is that Lol Steamroller is actually running toads, which are quite obviously really good against lizards. So if the toads come into the mix, then the lizards will have a really hard time actually doing damage. And as we're saying this, Lol Steamroller does go for his closest expansion, which I think is the right play, and he starts putting warrens up on the high ground, so it looks like he will try and control this high ground position in front of his expansion.
Two Flower looks like he's going to be going for the early ferrets right now. Has a small contingent of 2 lizard warrens. He's going to get his pigeon warren out right now. How do you think the ferrets will affect it for Two Flower?
They should be good.
Is he just going to go for a poking play?
Yeah, he can go for a really easy poking play because both of Lol Steamroller's expansions and his main base are on the low ground. So if he can secure any high ground near those bases, he has a really easy time taking out the mills themselves.
All right, here we go. Two Flower showing off his ferret here, forcing Lol Steamroller to maneuver his army around the area. Second ferret is now coming out. Here we go. We're going to have our first engagement. Lizards on squirrels right now as the ferrets are slowly poking their way through right now. Lol Steamroller does take out a lot of the lizards, however, but he feels like he needs to back out at that point. He does have some of his toads now online for the next
Toad's
fight.
doing major work right there, taking out a lot of lizards all at once. And both players do have pigeons, so the high ground advantage is nullified a little bit as long as those pigeons are out.
All right, now it's going to be Lol Steamroller pushing back Two Flower back to his side of the map.
And Lol Steamroller is going to put down a forward sniper balloon to still, again, try and control this ridge, this high ground in the middle of both bases, as that is the big point of contention in this game.
All right, Two Flower going in with his army of lizards right now. The toads, they try to do a lot.
So I think that was worth the trade for Two Flower. He lost all his pigeons and most of his lizards, but he took out the sniper balloon, denying Lol Steamroller that strong defensive position on the map.
Two Flower continuing to poke with his ferrets right now, trying to get them away from this fight, making sure they don't die needlessly here. Now, that last fight, I didn't think the toads really actually blew up that much here. It seemed like they tanked a lot of damage, but then after that, it just forced Lol Steamroller back here.
It's incredibly tricky to play lizards against toads because of their short range. You need to be really quick on your fingers if you want to try and avoid the big toad hits.
And once again, both players just dancing around each other. Two Flower trying to poke on through. Here we go, another engagement at the ready. The toads are going off right now, but the lizard army is still pushing on through very slightly.
No, he has to back out. There's too many squirrels left alive after that. Whereas the toads don't kill the lizards per se, they do weaken them a whole bunch.
And here we go, once more.
Ferret's out in front.
Here. One ferret's going to be taken down, a little bit of a bad position there, but now the lizard army is in somewhat of effect to protect the second ferret.
But still, I think Lol Steamroller comes ahead out of that trade.
Now, is it the point where Two Flower should consider trying to set down barbed wire?
Could be really good if he can put it down, but with Lol Steamroller playing up in his face, he's going to go for an attack onto Two Flower's expansion. He goes for a warren but doesn't really get it, and now his army is getting pushed back slowly. Ferret's shots going off, but again, most of Two Flowers lizards get taken out, and Lord Steamroller has a lot of squirrels left over.
Here we go. Lord Steamroller now cutting around to the backside, around where the Tier 3 Warren is. Two Flower trying to get his wolf off. Will he be able to get it out in time? He is slowly pushing out some of Lord Steamroller's squirrels right now, as they're slowly trying to make their way back into the fight. Toads now going off against the lizards here. Here we go. The wolf buff now comes out for the small lizards that are left.
That was unfortunate. I think Lord Steamroller, he committed a bit too hard for that push, and his units weren't really focusing anything in particular. He was hitting a Tier 1 Warren for a bit. He was trying to take out the Tier 3, which was the right play, but his army was too thinned out at that point. So now he's in a really tricky position where his opponent has Tier 3 out, and it's a wolf, which is going to combine nicely with the lizards that he has. He's sold his ferrets though, so it's just lizards and a wolf currently, with a little bit of pigeon support.
Alright, Two Flower going in. He has a wolf buff at the ready. Here we go. Now Lord Steamroller is the one backing out into his base. Two Flower's going to be using this chance, trying to take out some Warrens here. At the same time, the backline, the wolf is being slowly picked up. He does manage to maneuver him around. Now the lizard army is just going in all around Lord Steamroller's squirrels. This expansion looks to be done for, as Two Flowers now surrounding it. It's a dead expansion.
The buffed lizard just tore through Lord Steamroller's army, and now what does he do? He has very few options left to expand, and his main base is mined out, and he throws in the towel, causing Two Flower to take game 1 in this series. But we don't know what happens next.
Alright, there we go.
So,
Nice.
shall we hear our thoughts from Captain Fog and Hunter? What do you think about that game?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as has been mentioned, taking the right Lord Steamroller, starting out taking the right actions, having those toads out against that pure lizard army. I'm not quite sure where it went wrong though. Hunter, thoughts on this game?
I think that ferret play in the mid game was really good for Two Flower because Lord Steamroller was spending a lot of his time trying to dance his Tier 1 army around, trying to minimize the ferret value, but the Two Flower still got tons of ferret value with his shots, killing loads of Tier 1s, which set him at a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of an army advantage, and he managed to come ahead in some fights just through the raw advantage of that. And I think Lord Steamroller just needed maybe to just play more toads, because he didn't have quite enough to be able to weaken his army enough once the ferrets had done their work.
I feel like we're also saying that when Lord Steamroller, he actually did have an advantage. It was almost about to close out the game, but then his units just began to sort of scatter. They began to target different things all at once, and that just allowed the Tier 3 Warren, which was right next to the army and could have been targeted. The wolf just popped out, called out his buff for the remaining lizards, and just pushed out Lord Steamroller from that area. And from there, it just went all downhill for Lord Steamroller. I mean, there's just a point, like, when you're going into the base like that, you have to find some point of focus for your army to go on to.
Definitely.
And it just didn't work out for Lord Steamroller at that point.
Well, as we can see from the standings here, Lord Steamroller sitting pretty at rank number 3, so definitely seeing a lot of that good reaction in terms of strategy showing up in this standings board. So it'll be interesting to follow Lord Steamroller, see if he makes it into the finals, and whether he can work on some of his unit composition and also maybe a little bit of micro. Because he's definitely got the strategic mind for the builds that he's playing at the moment.
Yeah, if you were to look at the bracket, you would see that he does end up winning that series. He just lost the first game.
All right, well, without further ado, let's go into our 4th replay we have for you today, and then we're going to take a quick break. This replay is going to be Classic Metal versus Dead Bones. It's going to be the game 2 of their set. We watched game 1 as our first game. Is everybody ready to start this match?
Check.
Let's do it.
All right, and we're going to start the replay in 3, 2, 1. We're going to pass the casting off to our team of LeConte and Best Tea Maker. Take it away.
All right, we have Classic Metal here once more against Dead Bones.
As we saw at the start of the stream, he did end up losing game 1 against Dead Bones. So this is the second game they played. The Classic Metal ended up switching up his Tier 3 for this match. He goes with the Fox himself rather than the boar he had and never used in game 1. So I think the Fox from game 1 kind of haunted him, and he figured, if Dead Bones can use a Fox, I can use a Fox.
And Deadbone's going for a very similar draft, I believe, from his first game. Did he use moles? Well, he didn't even use moles, but did he have moles in his draft last time?
I think it may be the very same.
All right. So I wanted to ask you about Deadbone's decision to go artillery. Last game it worked very well. It was a very commanding presence for him. Do you think it's still a good idea to keep going with the artillery?
There's a number of good spots for it on this map. The question is, will it matter in this particular match? That's always the problem I feel with artillery. Is it can be really strong in the right position at the right time, but that situation just doesn't always happen in each game.
All right. And what do you think of this map? Because this map looks very confusing to look at. I'm trying to figure out where are possible avenues for either side to attack each other. Really.
There's a number of options here. There's the the northwestern corridor, which is a longer avenue of attack, but that's one way between the two bases. And there is actually a path just straight down the middle of the map, which is most likely going to be where most of the action is, because Deadbones is going to opt to take to secure his expansion in the south side.
All right, and looks like Deadbones just making sure he gets some economy going for him. Has that expansion up and ready for himself there. Meantime, neither side, nothing too much going on right now. Classic Metal will be putting down a bunch of squirrel warns right now.
Yeah, just fairly standard play from both players. They both went for 7 farms, then the Warren, then farm number 8. They're just adding on tier 1s now. Deadbones did go for an early mill and is going to go for some farms already, which is relatively early, but I think he can get away with it.
So are we going to see like a very slow farming type of game here then? Considering the way the map is laid out?
No player has there's a few angles of attack in this game, but none of them are really good for either player, so they may very well build up their army until they're confident about their attack.
So if it ever gets to that point, what's going to be the deciding factor based on their units?
It could very well be the artillery cannon and sniper balloons in this case. If those can go up in good positions and players can plan ahead, because I think that's definitely something they will have to do in a game like this, is plan ahead where they will go with their 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th base to see how they can stay in the game, which Deadbones has definitely done, trying to take out Classic Metal's commander there, but he does get away cheekily.
A little bit of a deny of returning by Deadbones there, but just runs away with his life.
Yeah, so because Deadbones took the base all the way in the south, he has the open base in the middle of his 2 currently farming gristmills, so he has a fairly easy 3rd base at his disposal. And Classic Metal has done the same in a way where he takes the more forward expansion first, and then he can expand behind it.
All right, Deadbones will be plopping down his first sniper balloon of the match here.
Yep,
Meanwhile,
that's a very good spot for it.
Classic Metal going to be shoring up his side with some barbed wire.
And again, Classic Metal, just solid play. He realizes that Deadbones could come from the north side of the map, and so he places a single unit of barbed wire to give him at least some high ground vision, and maybe a little bit of advanced warning. But we will have to see if either player is confident enough to move their army away from the middle of the map to go for the longer attack route.
And it looks like Classic Metal and Deadbones will be going for that Fox pretty early on in this game. No engagements at all whatsoever from both sides, so pretty safe call going for the Fox this early, huh?
And Classic Metal is actually going to go for a second Fox right away. We don't see this too often, double tier 3s, but in a game like this where no real engagements has happened and both players have expanded and taken a lot of farms, then you can definitely get away with something like this.
Oh, but Deadbone's going to scout it out. He does manage to walk around the army there and sees 2 tier 3s building. So he is definitely going to be aware of that.
He notices that his opponent isn't really doing anything, so he figures might as well go and take a look what's going on, and he spots the double tier 3 going down. And Deadbones, instead of going a second Fox, he opted to put on more farms on his 3rd base, so he will have a slight economic lead as this game goes on.
Well, here we go, both sides just gearing up for the upcoming match here. The Fox is now coming online for both sides very soon. Deadbones has his out initially.
Just
there we go.
down 2 farms. Brutal. 3 farms. 4 farms. And yeah, he's out. That was a sick trade.
Barbed wire can't do crap to the Fox here. He's going to run around the barbed wire and just shoot like crazy. 4 farms taken out will be the prize for Deadbones there. But At this point in the game, since both sides are so heavily farmed up right now, is it a huge advantage for
It's
Deadbones?
not a huge advantage, but it's an advantage for Deadbones, which is really scary if you're his opponent. If you were to look at the economic structures graph, you can see that Deadbones has a lead for most of the game at this point, which does add up over time.
He's going to finish off the rest of this farm. It looks like the Fox now coming in. He's going to just be taking out each farm
But
one
on
by
the
one.
other side of the map, Classic Metal runs both of his foxes to Deadbones' base, but unfortunately all he finds is warrens and no more farms.
The Fox needs to get out of there right now. Here comes Deadbones' army. And another nice thing for Deadbones is that he went for the base that was almost farmed out. So he's not going to find much value there with his foxes.
He'd also
And
single
Deadbones
warren.
And he knows for sure that it's 2 foxes now. So how do you prepare for a double fox if you're Deadbones?
I think he's done the right thing. He has balloons out. He has building extra artillery cannons. He has one out next to his first balloon. He's building a second one. Right.
Oh! The double fox deal works out so well.
That's-
Takes out that one fox, and here it comes. The big engagement that we've all been waiting for right now.
But this barbed wire is so much value right there. Those squirrels got shredded by that single tile of barbed wire.
And here we go once more. Classic Metal now pouring in. He doesn't fear the sniper balloons at all whatsoever. He's going to be using his fox to try to take out them out as much as they can. One fox is down, however. Classic Metal has 4 ferrets on his side. He's going to be trying to take out as many as he can before retreating back up to his farm.
Very slow fight right now.
The ferrets are just at a perfect position right now on the high ground. There's no sniper balloon close enough to give vision, so they can just poke away at Deadbones' army.
Either sold or lost his artillery cannon that was out in front. And
It was blown up. I believe that was blown up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very likely.
So nice little play there by Classic Metal, and the really nice foresight to put that Barbara right there in front of his farm.
Yeah, the trades he's taken so far, I think, have definitely made up for the slight economic advantage he has given Deadbones. Although, currently speaking, his initial second expansion just has no farms on it right now.
Alright, here we go once more. This expansion, no farms at all, but it's been the site of many a fight here. It's going to be taken down by Deadbones, but Classic Metal is now going to be swarming with his army. This ferret's now sitting very comfortably in the backline right now. The fox, as well as the squirrel, is just a giant wall of flesh protecting
Classic Metal has way higher squirrel numbers right now, which do matter in a fight like this. He also has the high ground again, so it's going to be really hard for Deadbones to do anything here.
And again, the ferrets are just in a great position to poke him from the back, no fear of danger. Although the squirrel army is now thinning out for Classic Metal, he is going to be backing out his army just a little bit. Ooh,
Look at this. Deadbones
fox.
takes out 2 foxes by tanking commander shots for his own fox. So he just traded one of his own foxes for 2 of Classic Metal's foxes. And keep in mind that both players' economy is going down quite rapidly right now. So Classic Metal has been forced to sell one of his foxes, and he sells his remaining fox as well, so this might be very hard for him to keep taking these fights if he doesn't have a fox to work with.
Are we looking at a base race right now? Deadbones
Could very well
on
be.
the right side, meanwhile Classic Metal going straight down the middle with his ferrets. That's going to be a base race, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Deadbones going for the right expansion here with his army. In the meantime, Classic Metal trying to march down the middle expansion of Deadbones' area. Who's going to go who first? The ferrets on the side of Deadbones have respawned, but they're now being taken apart by Classic Metal's army. Meanwhile, on the north side of the map, Deadbones is going for that second expansion. This is a final
Deadbones
one.
is going to be winning this.
Classic Metal, unfortunately, does not win the base race, and Deadbones will be taking this game number 2. Wow.
Again, it was some really sick poke wars and attempts at map control from both players, and both players reacting really well to the attempted securing of positions. Classic Metal with his forward base was a really good idea. Deadbones with his base skipping his closest expansion was a really good idea. And it's just really nice to see players plan ahead for the later game in a situation like this.
All right, now we're going to return this back to our panelists. What did you guys think of that match right there?
That was incredible. I think there were a total of 5 or 6 foxes out during that game. And I want to mention that at one point, the fox numbers switched, so Deadbones had 2, and Classic Metal had 1, and managed to take out both of Deadbones' foxes with that commander tank, as you said, LeConte. So incredible play from both players. I am very impressed with Classic Metal. Maybe it's just this patch, but seeing how his strategy has developed from just a massive ball of squirrels to a massive ball of squirrels, but also these other units that he's using to great effect is really cool to see.
Considering he made it to the playoffs in the last tournament as well, which was played in a different patch, I think it's fair to say he's a solid player.
Definitely. Hunter, your thoughts on that last match?
That was an insane back and forth match. I couldn't have possibly told you who was going to win that. There were times where I was thinking Dead Bones has the economic lead. He'll just easily pull ahead. But then Classic Metal won that fight by his expansion, and it was just kind of like a stalemate as they just traded resources. It was really insane.
I think it's also pretty interesting is that how the sniper balloons on Dead Bones' side initially just didn't seem to work out for him, and meanwhile Classic Metal just puts down really, really nicely placed barbed wire at these choke points, and it worked out really well in that bottom fight when it first happened.
Yeah,
that was some of the best value I've seen out of a single tile of barbed wire. I think it did over 60 damage or something ridiculous to Dead Bones' squirrel ball right on top of it.
We'll have to get Shoefly Pie to take a look at that and see if it wins the prize for MVP barbed wire.
I will say though, one sort of mistake that the Classic Metal did unfortunately do with his two foxes is that he tried to go around for the wraparound and see if he could catch Dead Bones from behind from the north side early on when he first got the foxes out. But he really wasn't really able to do too much to him, and foxes just don't have the damage to take out any sort of structure. I feel like if he had instead taken his ferrets around, that would have been better because they offer much more damage in that case, I feel.
Definitely. All right, well, with that, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and we'll be back with 4 more fantastic replays from the second week of September Showdown. So stick around. In the meantime, we have a vote for which unit you think is the cutest. So go ahead and type !halftime if you would like to vote in that. We will see you in 10 minutes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Week 2 replay highlights stream from September Showdown. We just finished off a great set of 4 games. I think we're about ready to head into the second set of 4 games for you guys this afternoon. My name is Captain Fogg, and of course, joining me as always is Hunter. How are you doing, Hunter?
Thank you very much. I'm good. I'm ready to cast. Let's go.
All right, and of course, with us as well for the panel is Best Team Maker. And I think LeConte is going to be switching out for Shoefly Pie. How are you guys doing?
Hello there.
Hello.
All ready to go.
All right, well, let's jump into Game 5 here. It's going to be Xeno Acoop versus 2Flower. Of course, Xeno Acoop, the winner of the very first Clash of Comrades tournament, May Mayhem. Are you all ready to jump into this game? Game 5.
I am absolutely ready.
All right, here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, and we have Xeno Acoop in the red to the north end of the map, and 2Flower in the yellow to the south end of the map. And what do you think of this map then, Captain?
Looking at this map, I like this corner base. If Deadbones was playing in this base to the east here, Deadbones would have taken it and had it as a secret base. I don't know if Xeno Acoop is that kind of a player, though, and I haven't watched 2Flower enough to know what kind of a player 2Flower is. I do notice that there's a lot of nice open areas in the middle of this map, 3 bases there. Neither player looks like they have a huge advantage economically. Xeno Acoop maybe with that one safe base to the north. So 2Flower's going to have to work a little bit harder to get his expansions in the middle and late game. Going to have to choose some stuff to the east, but other than that, fairly equal.
Yes, I think that eastern end of the map is quite interesting because 2Flower would have to completely subvert Xeno's main to get any of those expansions down there. So Xeno's in a great position, I think. If he can just hold out that little windmill right to the south of him, then 2Flower has no real chance in a long game. And so I think 2Flower is just going to have to play aggressively here and just break out of his position and just put a lot of pressure on Xeno.
Right, well, 2Flower here going for a faster set of farms than Xeno Acoop, only slightly, going for 8 farm Warren to Xeno Acoop's 7 farm Warren. Probably won't make a huge difference in the end, but sometimes with these games, even those little things can change the outcome of the game. 2Flower thrown down a little bit of barbed wire out in front, probably trying to protect any kind of early movement.
Xeno's doing the exact same thing with his barbed wire. He's put it right on his border there, and I think that's actually a mistake for 2Flower because I really think he needs to be more aggressive here. If he gets locked down into like the position he's in now, that's terrible because Xeno has an amazing position. He has like half of the map just available to him.
I also
It'll be interesting to see what he pulls out here.
I also want to point out that 2Flower has nothing to deal with this barbed wire. So as soon as the barbed wire goes down, it's there for the rest of the game, unless he can get some Uncle Butter's AoE attack going on, which is technically a glitch in the game. But Xeno Acoop is
okay, interesting.
Xeno Acoop is in a similar place, has no melee. I guess the Toads can take it out a little bit. No, they took that out. So neither player is going to be able to deal with any of the barbed wire on the field at the moment.
Interesting. What about loose ferro shells? Do they damage it?
I don't think so. They don't have AoE, so they'd have to target the tile exactly, which probably won't happen ever.
Alright, so Xeno's already got 1 ferret out. He's getting his second, while 2Flower is on going up to 12 squirrels. So he's got a lot of squirrels, and he's got some pigeons to help heal, but the healing's not going to be useful at all against those ferrets. Those ferrets will just one-shot those squirrels. So I expect to see... I think 2Flower's going to struggle a little bit right now until he can get something to do with those that ferret army. So Xeno can just constantly pull back whenever 2Flower advances and just snipe them away, I think.
And there we go. Just as you were saying, Xeno Acoop starting to control that middle of the map, cutting off any chance for 2Flower to get out and around. He's going to have to sneak out soon and get that eastern base, or the southeastern base, if he wants to keep getting expansions into this late game.
It doesn't bode well. Xeno's already got that second base up on the high ground. Got a lot of farms on it. Here's a fight.
Alright, Xeno Acoop throwing down some barbed wire to tank a lot of the shots, and it's doing a lot of good. Those ferrets continuing to hit from the back, and the squirrel army of Xeno Acoop coming out ahead in that fight, starting to pick away at this expansion, the only expansion of 2Flower at this point. And we just hit the 4-minute mark, so 2Flower is going to have to really struggle at this point. to fight back those ferrets and to keep his economy going. Xeno Coop
Yeah,
already...
it's really tough for him now.
Yeah.
Xeno used that boost he had from the economic advantage of the that was fairly early expansion, and now he's just got way more units, and I don't know what Two-Flower can do here. He's going to have to pull out something really spectacular.
Two-Flower trying to push back and forth, trying to take out a few units, but it's not quite working. That base does get taken out. I don't know how he's going to come back from this. He does have a sniper balloon up front there, but Xeno Coop is on 15 farms, the Two-Flower's 8, which in 30 seconds is going to go straight down to those -4 farms.
Two-Flowers are building a boar, and that hasn't been scouted by Xeno, and is going to get out successfully. And Xeno is just off right now, just doing his own thing. It looked like he was scouting or whatever. And now that boar is up, and this actually might be enough to do something to Xeno. I don't know if it'll win him the game, but it's a big unit, and here we go, here's a fight.
Goes boar is not in the front though, it's in the back. It comes to the fight late. It's only got 50 health left. It is taking out a lot of squirrels. Almost every squirrel goes down before it goes down. And it looks like it's just a couple squirrels versus a couple squirrels, but those ferrets in the back remain alive, able to win that fight for Xeno Coop. So unfortunately, that boar, hoping to be that ace in the hole, took out a lot of the squirrels, just not quite soon enough. Two-Flower using those squirrels to take out that barbed wire that's in front there before they get put down, but Xeno Coop's just going to rebuild it with his 12 farms, the Two-Flower's 4.
Well, he has another shot at it. If he can just hold out against Xeno long enough. Well, he has the wolf out now. This is really bad. That wolf is a big deal for Xeno. That's just going to be able to burst down that boar really easily. This is tough. This is very tough. Xeno's put on fantastic pressure. Using those ferrets really well. Just completely zoning out Two-Flower out of the rest of the map. And Two-Flower can keep taking the space as much as he wants. It's just going to go down.
Right, boar's out one more time. Let's see if he can get it in a little bit better positioning this time. He's only on 2 farms. This is really going to be his last chance to make any kind of a difference. Trying to draw it around the side, around that barbed wire. But remember, the wolf is out now, so it's a whole different game. And the wolf is going to get bursted down very quickly. Look at that. Down it goes.
Wow.
Only taking out a few squirrels. And Xeno Coop taking the game. Two-Flower saying, you can't take down 2 boars and still win. So Xeno Coop showing why he's still one of the best players in Tooth and Tail at the moment.
Yeah, he identified exactly what he needed to do in that match, I think. Just locking out Two-Flower from the rest of the map. Two-Flower got a fantastically bad map there. That was awful for him. He really had to do something really aggressive, and that just didn't work out, especially since he didn't really have the build for it. Like, it was just unlucky, I think. And Xeno definitely played it well.
Yeah. Taking it back to the analyst table here. Bestie, what'd you make of that last match? Oh, looks like Bestie isn't listening.
Oh, there we go.
I'll comment. Yeah. So one thing I noticed is Two-Flower built his balloon behind his 2 expansion opportunities, so that wasn't really going to come into play until after one of his expansions went down, and he'd be too far behind for it to make much of a difference at that point. So he either needed to place his defenses further front or just invest more in army to be able to press forward into Xeno's territory a bit more. But since he tried to play defensive too far back, he didn't have an opportunity to expand and just got overwhelmed by Xeno's larger economy and thus larger army.
I think another thing was that the boar was a pretty cute attempt by Two-Flower, but I think it's the unit very much like the fox, where you have to be able to move around the map in a very good way, or else it just gets overwhelmed by a bunch of units because it just sits there and does fire. And sure, it has the possibility of killing them really fast, but it's just a giant target for a lot of units to take down. And in that fight, he put his boar out really far out in front near the barbed wire, and he did take out a good number of Dead Bones units, but the ferrets were just largely untouched. And then when the wolf came in, it was just over for the boar. There was no way for him to actually get in there without a giant wall of squirrels to protect him.
It was just a little bit too little too late, because it was effective against what Xeno was bringing, but at the point he had the boar out, Xeno had twice the economy for a couple of minutes and just had so much more army value that even if Two Flower had a composition advantage, the raw value was just he couldn't compete with.
All right, well, with that, let's jump into the 6th replay we have for you guys today. It's going to be Master Stealth, the Master of Stealth and Cheese, versus Two Flower. An really interesting matchup here. Is everybody ready to go ahead and start?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, this is going to be the second game of their best of 3 set. I'm going to go ahead and start the match in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Two Flower to the southeast end of the map in red, Master Stealth to the west end of the map in yellow. And it is quite an interesting map.
Yeah, it's something the devs might want to look at. This big tower to the east here. It's just completely inaccessible. A lot of area to the north as well, inaccessible as well. Master Stealth with one good safe expansion. It's a tower in and of itself. But other than that, he's going to have to push through a bunch of ruins, that ruined town, in order to take a second expansion. Whereas Two Flower can afford to just kind of take that southern expansion and then expand to the middle whenever he wants. And then, of course, there's that island expansion up to the north there. See who ends up controlling that.
Yeah, so Master Stealth definitely has a good natural expansion. That's definitely a good position. But he's going to have to expand fast out to the rest of the map and gain a hold over it, lest he gets blocked in a little bit by those center expansions that Two Flower has at his disposal.
Looks like
Two Flower has an owl. We haven't seen any owls yet.
That
should be interesting.
Master Stealth has gone for 4 or 5 farm warrens, so a very aggressive squirrel forward play from Master Stealth, the Master of Cheese. We'll see how it works against Two Flower, who went for a standard 7 farm build into lizards. And of course, early game, lizards do very well against squirrels. It's only in the late game that the squirrels start to take over. So we'll see how this turns out for Master Stealth. Playing
it looks like he was actually a fake out, maybe, because he did place that warren right in front of Two Flower. Right at the start of the match, which looked like a really aggressive warren, but he hasn't piled on any aggression after that. He's just gone and got a proxy base up to the north instead. And he knows that the early squirrels can't deal with those lizards. So that's interesting. I don't know what he's going to do with this, but Two Flower doesn't know about that base to the north.
Definitely Master Stealth pulling out the cheese once again for that proxy base in the north. Let's see if he builds any farms on it. Might build 1 or 2. Or no, he's just going to put a machine gun turret down there. I don't know if it's the best thing to do, because it's already a secret base. But we'll see. Two Flower going ahead and building some ferrets, his first ferret warren. He's got 9 lizards going to be out, backed up by pigeons. So definitely with a good army composition at the moment. And we know that Two Flower is scouting these machine gun turrets in the front. So definitely a good thing to do would be to expand right now, because he knows that Master Stealth probably isn't going to attack past that turret.
Yeah, I think he could take just that expansion right in the middle there and just stop Master Stealth from getting too far forward.
Oh no.
That would be easy. He's going for a ferret play. Okay, interesting.
Look at
He's going to bomb the ferrets from that high ground there.
Perfect positioning. Just to give you guys an idea of what's going on here, we're going to show you, this is what Master Stealth can see. Now that sniper balloon is up just in time, but he does manage to take out a couple squirrels, not too much damage. But excellent timing on that.
That's a good start.
Yeah, good timing on that sniper balloon. That ferret could have done a lot more damage if it hadn't gone up when it did, or if the sniper balloon hadn't gone up when it did.
Master Stealth's going to have to make the most out of his defenses here, because his army value is nothing in comparison. He's going to have to just play on the back foot, and he does force Two Flower to leave.
It's Skunks coming out for Master Stealth. I think that's probably, I would have said a couple patches ago that was the best thing to do at this current time, but in the current patch, Skunks just don't quite have enough health to survive, and those lizards aren't going to spend enough time in that skunk cast to really make a difference. That skunk is out in front too. Ooh, scoot back a little bit, Skunk. Don't get taken out in the first few shots.
I think going forward here is a mistake. He's just going to be destroyed by those lizards just sweeping in. Here we go.
There we go. That first skunk is taken down. The last skunk running for its life back to the safety of the turrets. So Two Flower way, way ahead with more than twice the army value of Master Stealth here. Master Stealth hasn't built a ton of farms in that proxy base to the north there. I think that's what he needs to do at this point. This is a better engagement for Master Stealth, but both of his turrets, both of his turrets getting taken down.
Oh, bad news. Losing that sniper balloon, that's a lot of value that he lost there. He does manage to force Two Flower out of there, but there's no way he can make a counterattack, and he lost so much value there. He really needs to get some sort of good economy going. It's just really a shame that he didn't manage to get a stronger economy going earlier on in the game. That could have gone in big advantage. I think he was just focusing a little bit too much on defense.
Yeah,
he can still do something here, though. He has some good falcons here, which would definitely be good against those ferrets. Maybe he can maneuver them around those cliffs and take out the lizards. And here we go.
Taking his army up onto the high ground again, getting those skunks down to get a bit more gas down, and that's actually a pretty good engagement for Master Stealth here. Those lizards being forced to stay in that skunk gas, but the pigeons keeping them alive. One skunk left is going to get taken out by that final ferret shot. That falcon firing away as much as it can, but an owl is out now for Master Stealth, or for Two Flower, and this spells doom for Master Stealth. That second falcon coming in is going to try and take down this owl, or anything that it can, really, at this point. But those mice coming in with the combination of those lizards with pigeons to back it up, and it looks like Master Stealth is getting overrun. 5 mice right now, taking out Warrens, one after the other. Master Stealth goes ahead and sells them. Gonna have to retreat to that island base that he has. It's fortunate that he built that. And Two Flower is free to take down the last 4 farms at this base.
Yeah, just having that tier 3 out right now, just like he was already ahead of the game, but this just gives him the brute power he needs to just push forward and do what he likes with Master Stealth's remaining bases here. And now he just needs to play the little game of finding where Master Stealth is. He does have that 1 MG nest, so that could be a thing. And he has now gone and taken that southern proxy base.
But Two Flower comes in right away, spots it, is going to take his lizards in there and take it out right away. But he's got to know that Master Stealth has another base somewhere on the map. Master Stealth has no units out, just has that machine gun turret. It's going to plop down a couple squirrel warrens. But at this point, Two Flower is desperately trying to find, is it this base on the high ground here? You know, where is this last base? Not able to find it, but Two Flower building up 250 food right now. Very dominant right here. He's going to spot the base now. Unfortunately, he's on the wrong side of it. Those lizards aren't quite in range, but those ferrets are going to be able to tap those warrens that have just been built. And Master Stealth's in a very bad position. Here we go, Two Flower finding the way into the base. That machine gun is the last line of defense. Those squirrels trying to go around the outside, but just kind of getting caught by those units there. And this looks to be the end for Master Stealth.
Yup, this is just overwhelming power, and there was nothing you could do at that point.
Alright, and that's game. Two Flower taking that match. Let's go ahead and take it back to the analyst desk for opinions on that last matchup.
I think it just shows how weak skunks are right now. You know, there was that second engagement with the skunks where he had so much skunk gas on the ground. The lizards were surrounding the units and they were sitting in the skunk gas, but no, it didn't really matter. The pigeons were there just to help sustain the lizards long enough to take out the skunks, and that was the end of that engagement.
Yeah. Well, the lizards were always fairly good against skunks anyway, because you could just rush them past the skunk gas fairly quickly and just take out those skunks directly, especially with the high amount of health they have. And just now, they're just even worse. Like, they don't even do well against squirrels if you build them. So I think maybe it was just a bit of an experiment with for Master, just see if that would work, and it definitely did not.
I will say, I think it's... Oh, go ahead.
The biggest takeaway I take from the game is more about Master's choices with placing defenses. He invested early into defenses, and the thing about defenses is, if they're not influencing your opponent, they're pretty much wasted food, because, you know, the machine gun turret that he had up on his sneaky base, it didn't come into play until the end of the game when Master was already on the back foot. So he's putting it there early to give himself some insurance, but on the other hand, that just puts him behind in the main engagements. And also with sniper balloons, I don't think they are great as like relying them on to hold off the enemy and use them as like a defense. I think they're more for like controlling an area of the map. So when you just put them at the front of your base, they they're not as useful as if you put them in a more forward position and keep your army around them to sort of control where your opponent can move around the map.
All right, Bestie,
I feel like-
closing thoughts for this matchup?
I know I'm a little surprised that we didn't really see like barbed wire or mines coming out of Master Stealth for the game. It was actually a pretty standard kind of lineup coming out from him during that game, and there wasn't anything really too cheesy coming out from him. I'm a little disappointed in what Master Stealth did this game. Really,
Yeah, he should have just gone all in on that northern base, like not even bothering with the turret. Just go loads of farms and then just surprise him.
I mean, I thought that was his plan, but then he just focused so much on trying to, defend that chokehold that northern farm just didn't really do too much for him.
All right.
Other than give him like 1 or 2 food, I guess.
All right, well, let's jump into the 7th replay we have for you guys today. It's going to be our own Best Teammaker versus Bagel Denizens, their first game of their matchup. It's going to be replay number 7. Are you guys ready to go into this matchup?
Let's go.
Not really.
Of course, Bestie not wanting to see his own things talked about. But here we go. We're going to start this replay in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, and here we go. Bagel Dennison to the south end of the map in red. Best Teammaker to the west in green. And this is a quite interesting banana-shaped map.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see potential for a Falcon flyover, so to speak. Looks like neither player has Falcons this game, so that's not going to happen. But the first thing I'm seeing is Best Teammaker with a very safe expansion to the west there. Looks like Bagel Denizen has a couple of options for... Oh, no, because Best Teammaker not Best Team, Bagel Denizen, that base to the east is only accessible if he goes out of his main base area and his expansion and around. Yeah. So if Bestie can manage to lock down this map in the middle, like Xeno Coop did against Two Flower before, it's going to be in a very good position. Hunter,
Yeah, you're exactly right, Captain. Yeah, that center base is going to be the focal point of the map, and I expect like anyone who gets that position is just going to take the game away. Bagel Downsend gets that. Oh, he gets that surprise base. He sells it though. That's a shame. Okay, you must have expected Best T to do something cheesy, maybe.
Yeah, that would
have
been
been really strong.
Yeah, great buy for Bagel Denizen. Unfortunately, selling it, but having a base out there to kind of negate that middle base control would have got him a lot further in the game. But we'll see. Both players getting their first tier 1s out. 3 squirrels versus 3 lizards at this point. Both players on 7 farms.
Yeah, lizards, yeah. Okay, and Bagel Danson is forcing Best T into death, looks like, right now.
Losing that.
Yeah, now he's taking that position.
All right, good. So he does take that base.
Because now that position is kind of revealed. He knows that... Best T should know that Bagel is up there, and it's not so much of a surprise, but it's still a very good position, and I expect him to make good use of this. But here we go, it's Lizards versus Squirrels, even number. Let's see how this goes down.
All right, Lizards coming in and sweeping through the Squirrels, losing 1 or 2 Lizards. That one Squirrel coming in, saying, "Hey, wait, it's my turn," and then dies immediately. So unfortunately...
I can do this!
I could do this. No, I can't. Those lizards coming through and taking out Bagel Denizen's base up there. Is also going to catch one of those farms. That farm in the south of that base is going to get taken out. So
that really sucks for Bagel, and Bagel's lost that position on the middle of the map now, and he's in a bad position. Looking at army value, Best T is just going to shoot ahead right now. He's on 6 lizards, going up to 12. He's got toads. He's got pigeons. I think he can just force himself into the enemy base here and just take out those that army, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
All right, here he goes. Those pigeons backing him up, trying to keep those lizards alive, but it looks like Bagel Lennon is going to fend this off for the moment. 2 lizards left alive, and Bagel's going to take that nice, safe expansion. And there you go. Best Teammaker has claimed that base in the middle, so the beginning of the end for Bagel Denizen. Toad's out. Bestie's going to go in for another attack here. The Toad goes off. Looks like the pigeons are coming in, trying to heal as much as they can, but getting backed off again.
I think that was just a bit too hasty. He needed to wait until his army value is really superior. And those toads, I don't think they're actually going to be very useful in this matchup. They've got the same amount of health as those lizards, I believe. But I don't think they have as much potential, really.
Sniper balloon.
And Bagel now has that sniper balloon, yeah. That's a big deal.
And Bestie going in very aggressive, taking out this expansion. That's great. That's good for him, but he doesn't have a whole lot of army now. If Bagel Denizen wanted to push out, which it looks like he's going to right now, he's going to lose this mid-map control, especially since he has this entire map. I don't know why he's attacking so much.
Ooh, this is... he has good reinforcement speed, so he has those lizards which reinforce fast and they can move really fast across the map, so maybe he can just wheel them in fast enough. He's taking out those weak squirrels. He almost gets that second one. That's a big shame that he doesn't get that.
Ooh, and the last squirrel left alive, so that farm just barely surviving. But Bestie has got to sit here, let his army build up a little bit, maybe put down a couple defensive structures, and really control this choke point, which is the only way out of Bagel's base right now. And he's got a lot of enforcements right now. Let's see if he decides to try and take it down.
He doesn't really need to worry about Bagel getting a stronger economy, because he's already got a stronger economy than Bagel. He can just work on his own while he keeps his army on at least the same level as Bagel, which shouldn't be hard at all. And then once it's big enough, he can just really just steamroll through Bagel's base. And it looks like that's maybe what he's going to start to do. He's got that sniper balloon building, and now he's shoving more farms into that forward base. And Bagel is doing the same, but without the extra army. He's just doing the farms, and that's going to put him a little bit behind on army. And it's going to be tough for him to catch up without some really good engagements.
Definitely, that sniper balloon up now. So Bestie has a very commanding control of this map at the moment. Those pigeons are going to help with assaulting onto that high ground, but not too much. Oh, it looks like he can't let the sniper balloon go down. He's going to rush in.
That's the ferret.
Toads are going to come in, take a few hits off of those squirrels. Running in, they are in range of that sniper balloon, so one lizard getting taken out. But better play, better holding back by Teammaker right now. Definitely, realizing, and as I say that, bringing his lizards in again, trying to, I guess, end the game sooner than he would otherwise.
He doesn't need to take out this expansion here. I think getting those 2 farms is just good enough. He's losing so many lizards here. He lost easily more than that windmill is worth in lizards. And I think he just, after taking those farms, which was really good play, I think he could just get back and just keep the army value. He really doesn't need to go, and again, his army is nowhere near big enough to take on this, and his army just gets wiped out again.
He's just getting lured in by the promise of that mill that's at so little health. He is going to be able to take it down just right now. But again, if Bagel tries to push out right now, he might be able to.
That sniper balloon is very good insurance, though. It was really good that you managed to get that up really cleanly, and those ferrets aren't going to be able to do anything against that sniper balloon. If the ferrets even get close enough to the farms, the sniper balloon is just going to do work.
That pig would have died if not for that pigeon that was right there and snagged it right as it took the first ferret shot, so barely staying alive. Hero pigeon in this match.
Yeah, I must say, pigeons have been doing really well in the latest patch. That's really nice to see. Pigeons are a really fun unit, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Best Teammaker on 6 farms to Bagel Denizen's 1 farm at the moment. And again, Best Teammaker's army getting taken out. He really doesn't need to rush in like he's doing right now. You can kind of just let Bagel starve out.
Yeah, you can just wait. He can just put down like some more farms. Yeah, he sold those toads. It looks like he's just... He doesn't have enough income, really, to do anything right now. He just needs to wait for his lizard army to get back up, and then he can start working on what he wants to do next, which is really not much. He doesn't have to do anything really at all. You can just keep waiting.
Oh, and just barely saving his commander there. If he had died, that might have opened the door for Bagel Denizen to push out. But as it stands, Bagel Denizen on no farm, so that timer is going to start ticking down. 60 seconds until he farms out. And all Bestie has to do is sit here and wait. That's all he's got to do. Protect this expansion, or protect this choke point there. And there we go. Bestie taking that match with excellent, excellent map control.
Yeah, once he took that position in the middle of the field, Bagel had really nothing he could do. He almost managed to break out at one point, but once that sniper balloon went up, he just had the insurance that he needed to be able to do anything, really. He could have done anything there, and Bagel just had no chance. He couldn't break out of that. That was really strong.
All right, well, let's bring it back to the analyst desk. Shootfly Pie, thoughts on that last matchup, and then we'll get to Bestie for his own thoughts.
Yeah. So one thing that I saw Bestie doing really well, he made excellent use of the strengths of lizards, using their speed to wrap around the outside to avoid the defenses and do hit and runs on the farms. And the other thing that he did really well is he forced a low economy game by taking constant fights, and that delayed the time that Bagel would be able to tech up into tier 2 units to get the ferrets to try to contest the held position in the middle. And he also, by constantly fighting for that second base for Bagel, he kept Bagel on 1 mil. And so Bagel was constantly in a low economy game. And that meant that he could never build up enough of an army to contest that sniper balloon and break out of the contain.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I didn't really think of. Forcing those fights just meant that Bagel had no chance to tech up at all. He just had to keep spending on reinforcements. And while Bestie was also spending a lot of money, a lot of food on reinforcements as well, it didn't matter because he had the better economy. Yeah, that's a good point.
So he knew that he could take slightly inefficient fights. In a lot of those fights, he lost more than he gained, but he kept the tempo of the game at a level where they could never build up enough of a force to break out of the contain.
All right, and of course, we have Bestie Maker with us right now. Bestie, what were your thoughts coming out of that game?
Can we just say that was the only game played during that set and ignore the other 2 games? That'd be great. So I'm just going to say I got really lucky with that map. I think I was just scouting around the area and I realized he only had one expansion in that area. And if I could just shut off that one hill, that really small hill, it was so tiny that all I had to do was put a sniper balloon up there, get some units up there, and really hard to lose that kind of contain. This is a case where the map just helped me out so much. Thank you, map. Thank you, map generator.
But definitely having the head to realize that map was so good for you, shows that you have the strategic mind to play tooth and tail. I will say though, Bagel did a really good thing early on, trying to take that really forward expansion there on the hilltop near my base, and I think I will say I did keep an eye on that just to make sure. You did see me trying to run around that area just to see what he was going to do up there. He had his army of squirrels, but I think it was a good show. I think he knew that he was in a really bad spot map-wise, so he needed to get some sort of economic advantage outside of that area. We saw that earlier with Lowell Steamroller versus Two Flower. Even though Two Flower did win that game, Lowell Steamroller did the right decision of expanding really far away from that initial contained area, and it could have worked out for him in that game too.
Yeah, I think it was just unfortunate that lizards just are so much stronger than squirrels in a 1-on-1 matchup that, with even army value, those squirrels had no chance. Maybe if you had toads or something, that would have been better, but it was really tough. Lizards were the perfect unit right there. Just fast speed, good stats.
All right, closing thoughts for this match?
I do think that Bagel did try to take the mill a little too early. He should have maybe built at least 1 extra warren, and instead of trying to build farms on it, use the extra territory to build more forward defenses to try to control that area of the map instead of getting an economic lead with that base.
Right. All right, well, with that, we're going to jump into the final and 8th replay for you guys today. It's going to be Lev versus AV Ultima, game 1 of their set. AV Ultima, of course, is the winner of July Joust, the last big tournament that we hosted. And Lev is the young upstart who's been giving the veterans a run for their money. So an exciting matchup for our last game here. Is everybody ready to go ahead and start?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right, we're going to start this match in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, here we go. Lev to the northwest in yellow. Southeast is AV Ultima in the green. What do you think of this map then, Captain?
Well, my initial thoughts are that Lev isn't going to have a good time on this map. He does have a nice, safe, I guess, expansion to the far, far west here. There is that base over there that's going to be hard for AV Ultima to get to. But AV Ultima has 2 bases directly next to his main base, and one in the south that's impossible to get to if you don't go through his main base. Whereas Lev only has 2 bases on his side of the map. So long-term game, AV Ultima is going to have a huge advantage here. And I'm excited to see these bridges come into play.
Yeah, this could be interesting. I think Lev really needs to, as we're seeing a lot from these games actually, break out of this position as soon as possible, get a hold on the rest of the map, or at least just not worry too much about positioning. Maybe go for some sort of strategy that just more relies on just winning the fight somehow. He just needs to not take this make this game take too long, because if he does, AV's positioning on this map is really going to be a massive problem.
All right, both players going for 7-farm Squirrel Warrens. We'll see if they continue to mirror each other's builds. Too early to tell yet. Both players.
And looking at the builds, they're very similar builds. Just the only difference is Lev's got those pigeons rather than the lizards for AV Ultimate. AV Ultimate has all the common tier 1s right now.
Yeah, do you think those pigeons will make a difference in this game, in this matchup?
I don't know, honestly. I think the fact that AV has a little bit more flexibility in the lizards will give him a bit more of an advantage to just switch up what he needs to do. Those pigeons could definitely be strong. It really depends what AV decides to do. If he goes those ferrets, those pigeons aren't really going to be all too useful.
Yeah, Lev going for straight squirrels, getting out 15 squirrels very shortly here. AV Ultima is going to have some toads to try and deal a little bit with those, but toads haven't been doing so great on these patches due to the increased health of squirrels. It does have a few lizards out, and we'll see if those lizards can try and swing the difference. But again, those squirrels scale very, very well. So the more squirrels you have, the better they're going to do, just because they have that range. They can shoot over their comrades' shoulders, whereas lizards kind of have to be out in the front.
I think with such a small amount of lizards, I don't think that's going to be a good investment for him. Lev's just got, look at that raw power, just complete bursting down AV Ultimate's commander here. I think the toads and lizards aren't going to do very well in this matchup. The toads are mainly for the anti-lizard, getting him really close, completely blowing them up. I think Lev has an advantage here with his current composition, with the 15 squirrels, and now he's going to pigeons as well. That definitely gives him a really strong position. And if he goes for some sort of timing attack on the finishing of these units, I think he has a really good chance of doing well in this match.
All right, AV Ultima has scouted this base all the way out here to the west. Lev's going to bring in his squirrels to counter those lizards that are charging across the field. So effectively fending that off. But here he comes into the front door of AV Ultima. We'll see if he decides to go for it at this point, or try and build up a little bit more. He does have a slight army advantage at this time. Got a couple toads.
I think he definitely has a composition advantage as well. Yeah. I think he could just bust through that right now if he wanted to. AV Ultimate's going to expand forwards now, get that windmill. He already has the windmill to the south end of the map. He's got 2 farms on that, so he's keeping up with the economy on Lev. Lev's just put loads of farms into his economy, and AV Ultimate's going for a lizard attack with just 3 lizards, and he just can't even take down a pig.
Just barely.
Like 3 lizards was not able to take down that pig. That was really a shame.
Yeah, with pigeons to back it up. We'll see if Lev is able to last long enough for this economic advantage to really swing in his favor. AV Ultima still on 12 farms to Lev's 16, 2 full bases out. AV Ultima does have that sniper balloon out in front there, but against so many tier 1s, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. Those lizards are going to come in the side. Again, those pigs are surrounded by Warren, so it's going to take a while for them to get to the pigs, and in comes the army of Lev.
He takes down that sniper balloon. That's a big deal. And the fact that Lev puts so much of his currency into farms has given AV Ultima actually a little bit of a raw army value advantage. Like, not even taking into account the fact that he has a sniper balloon advantage. He's still even with Lev here, and now that he's got a wolf on the way, this could be good for him. But Lev, with the massive amount of stored up food, is doing the exact same thing. It's just pumping loads of food into Warrens. He's got a wolf on the way, more squirrel Warrens, and a ferret Warren.
Ooh, and here comes the lizards in again.
Those well-placed toads completely negate AV's attempt at a backdoor with those lizards. Yeah. That was really well played by Lev there.
Taking out 1 lizard, AV Ultima's going to try and swing around to the south to take out a little bit more. We'll see if Lev can read that he's going to try and swing around there. But here he goes into the undefended expansion here. We'll see how many farms he's able to take out. That's 1 farm is down. 2 farms are down. He's going to need to take out more farms than that. He can take out 1 more. It'll be a good trade. Otherwise, it's even. Doesn't quite... Oh, he does get it down. All right, so 3 farms for 6 lizards. That's a good trade there. It's 120 food for...
And Lev...
Yeah.
I think Lev could have pushed in there. Maybe that would have been a good timing. He hesitated a bit, though. He considered going back and cleaning up those lizards. I think that just he didn't really do anything there. He just took that loss. But that's fine. He's got a really strong army. He's got that wolf almost coming out. He's got the army value advantage. Both armies are going to have a wolf. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here, actually.
It looks like we'll see an enormous clash in the middle here. Those lizards really doing a great job of swinging in and hit and run attacks. Going to take out this expansion by Lev, and Lev just bringing his entire army around. It does go down. Those lizards are just going to be caught out there. They get caught trying to get back, unfortunately, running through the army. Lev's going to rebuild that base there, so losing 6 lizards for just 60 food. It's not a good trade. In comes Lev, but here goes AV Ultima into the south. He's going to take out that west expansion. Are we going to see a base race here? Wolf's out. The wolf buff is out.
That might be what he's doing. But Lev has a massive advantage in a base race situation. AV has nowhere where he can place a Warren, and both take out one enemy windmill. But Lev is just steamrolling through AV's base.
3 bases left for Lev and 1 left for AV Ultima in this base race. He's going to lose all of his structures at this moment, and Lev has built that safety base to the east there. AV Ultima's going to try and build that one. We'll see if it comes up in time in order to save him from losing this game. I don't know if it's going to come up in time. And it's not.
Oh.
So Lev is going to GG. Lev's going to win this match. Wow, in a base race. From such a bad starting point in terms of map. How did he manage to come back from that? Let's go to our analyst panel. Thoughts on the game. How did Lev come back from that terrible map?
Well, he just played a lot conservatively and ecoed up. And while AV Ultimate did a great job raiding with his lizards and getting some value from that, even after those losses, Lev was still ahead in economy. So just waiting out the game so he got a larger army worked out really well for him. Now there was a key thing in that I noticed in that base, or 2 key things in that base race I noticed. One is AV was a bit slower because he didn't bring his wolf along when he was attacking that one base. He left the wolf and the toads behind and only attacked the base with the squirrels. So he was a bit slower taking that mill down than he could have been. And then even though he had the food, he didn't build that base right away, and he had to run back to build it. So a bit of a lapse of judgment there. And if he had put it down right away, it would have gotten up in time to save him from losing in that base race. And he might have had a chance of actually winning that base race because his mills were closer together.
Right,
there was just also a thing that, like, AV Ultima was actually keeping in track with Lev's army, and their army values were actually very equal for most of the game. And AV Ultima built up this giant army, and we never got to see him use it. He let it sit there, and only into that final base. It wasn't even probably going to be a base race. I think what AV Ultima was trying to do was try to sneak his units around and slowly go towards Lev from the water angle. However, Lev just decided just to push on forward. He rebuilt the mill that he got destroyed earlier and just pushed in with his giant ball of units. And meanwhile, AV Ultima was sort of disjointed. He wanted to use his lizards to attack that expansion, but then he also wanted to move his army in a better position. But the wolf was just trailing so far behind that it couldn't really contribute to the base race at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I do think that like just before the base race started, AV did a really clever thing where he sort of baited Lev with swinging his small group of lizards off to the right and then taking his main force to attack Lev's expansion on the left. I think AV was caught a bit off guard. I don't think he was expecting Lev to opt into the base race, and that's why he left his wolf and toads behind, and then he was planning to bring his squirrels back to fight Lev after that. But he wasn't expecting Lev to opt into the base race, and so he sort of got caught off guard and had to quick panic, and that's why he had to run back to try to build that base to save him from going down in the base race, because he didn't have the tempo in the base race to keep up with it.
All right, Hunter, any closing thoughts for that match? And then it looks like we're just about out of time.
I think that was just really, really well played by Lev, actually. He did really what he needed to do to get out of that position. He ecoed up, and that was really well played. He could have gone out more aggressive, but really just ecoing up against AV when AV put on no pressure whatsoever really worked out well for him, and he actually got more of an economy than AV, even from that terrible starting position. And with that, just completely steamrolled him in the base race. And yeah, I think that was really well played by Lev there.
All right, well, we have about a little bit less than 2 weeks left in the qualifiers portion of September Showdown. So we'll see you guys next week for the third highlight stream with more fantastic replays from the next week of streaming. Again, my name is Captain Fogg, and I want to thank Hunter, Shoefly Pie, Best Teammaker, and LeConte for casting today. You guys are fantastic. If you guys want to...
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to head out now. Thank you all so much for watching the Week 2 highlight stream for September Showdown. Any closing thoughts for our viewers here, guys?
Buff skunks.
Buff skunks. All right, well, we'll leave you with that message, devs. Buff the skunks, please. And we'll see you all next week, same time, same place, Sunday on at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you all for watching.